This is J. Krishnamurti's fourth public discussion in Saanen, 1969.
Shall we go on with what we were talking about yesterday? To accept the world and ourselves as we are seems so incredibly, may I use the word stupid? Religions, revolutions, philosophers, religious teachers have tried to change man. They have tried to impose one pattern of behavior over another, one series of commandments over another. They have said what is morality and imposed a new kind of morality. This has been going on for so long. Man has not very deeply changed. And we are talking about the radical revolution in man, not an imposition of another pattern of behavior over the old one, or an ideological system of morality, but rather be concerned with actually what exactly is the human being, the inward state, and change that, not to a particular design of behavior or a particular pattern of conduct or a system of thought, but be only concerned with the basic change in actually what is going on inwardly in ourselves. As we said, the world and ourselves are not two different entities. The world is us and we the world. That's an obvious, irrefutable fact. And to bring about a great change, revolution, mutation, transformation, doesn't matter what word one uses, at the very root of our being. And that's what we are involved in during these discussions. We were saying yesterday, can one look at oneself so clearly without any distortion? Distortion being the desire to achieve, to get rid of what is, to substitute, to evaluate, to judge, to merely accept a particular pattern and impose that on what is. All those, we said yesterday, prevent clear perception, prevent each one from looking exactly, very closely and very intimately with what is. So I think this morning we should spend some time in discussing or talking over together the nature of observation, the way to look, to listen, to see, and whether it is at all possible to see not only with one part of our being, visual or intellectual, or merely with the heart, with the emotion, with a lot of sentiment, which has no vitality. Sentiment and emotionalism have no basic, lasting vitality. It's like enthusiasm, it comes and goes. But to observe very closely, is it at all possible without any distortion? And it may be worthwhile to go into that. What is it to see? Not merely verbally, but actually do it as we are sitting here. To see, if we can, look at ourselves, look at the basic fact of ourselves, which is greed, envy, anxiety, fear, hypocrisy, deception, ambition, greed, trying to be terribly clever when one is neurotic, and so on and on and on. Just to watch that without any distortion. So, can we this morning talk over together what it means to observe, to see, to listen? Shall we go into that? Please, this is a discussion, exchange, a dialogue. Don't be silent and just nod your head or be kind of waiting expectantly some enlightenment to happen to you. That's one of the most stupid forms of entertainment. To discuss what is enlightenment and see who is enlightened. There are, I don't know the exact number in India, who have this strange idea that terribly enlightened because they've got some kind of disease or some kind of physical change, and they think they have got an extraordinary enlightened outlook on life. Distrust all those people, because enlightenment can't be given to you, or can you understand it? It is only the enlightened that understand what is enlightenment. And then he need not seek enlightenment. It doesn't happen to him as a miracle. So, can we this morning spend some time trying to learn what it is to look? Learning is a constant movement, constant renewal. Not having learned, and with what I have learned, from there look. You understand? I listen to what is being said, and I'm going to learn about seeing, watching, observing, listening. And by listening to what is being said and little watching of ourselves, watching ourselves a little bit, we learn something. We experience something. And from that learning and experiencing, we look. From what we have learned and from what we have experienced, with that in mind, with that as memory, we look. Therefore, it's not looking, it is not learning. Learning implies each time a mind that learns each time anew. So it's always fresh to learn. So, bearing that in mind, that we are not concerned with the cultivation of memory, which is modern education, but rather we are concerned to observe and see what actually takes place, and to be very alert, attentive, that what you have seen and what you have learned doesn't become a memory, and with that memory look. Therefore, there's already a distortion. Is this clear? To look each time as though it was the first time. But if you look at it, to observe what is with a memory, then that memory dictates or shapes or directs your observation. And therefore it's already distorted. Can we go from there? So we are saying one has to be very aware that it doesn't become merely an experience or the observation of the past, and the past looks at the present, which is the actual. Right? Can we go on from there? So we want to find out what it means to observe. The scientist or the beginner in science perhaps may look at something through a microscope, observe very closely. Naturally, there is an outside thing, and he's looking at it without any prejudice, or with some peculiar, or with some knowledge which he must have to look. But here we are looking at the whole structure of life, at the whole movement of living, at the whole being, which is myself, which is the world. And therefore it must be looked at not intellectually, not emotionally, nor with any conclusion, right or wrong, oh, this must not be, this should be. So, before we can look intimately, one must be aware of this process going on, this process of evaluation, judgment, a conclusion, which is going to prevent the observation, right? So we are now concerned not with looking, but what it is that is looking. Is the instrument that is looking spotted, distorted, tortured, burdened? So what is important is not the seeing, but the observation of yourself, who is the instrument which is looking, whether it is at all, whether it is normal, whole, sane, healthy, and therefore without any quality of distortion or torture. Have you got it? So we are going to be aware of the instrument that is looking. That is, aware of ourselves that is going to look. If I have a conclusion that, I don't know what, nationalism, and with that deep conditioning, tribal exclusiveness called nationalism, with that, if I look, obviously, I look with a great deal of prejudice. Therefore, I can't see clearly. Or if I'm afraid to look, then that obviously that's a distorted look. Or if I am ambitious for enlightenment or for a bigger position or whatever it is, then also that prevents the clarity of perception. So one has to be aware of all that. Aware if the instrument that is looking is very clean. Wait. When one looks, one finds the instrument is not clean. And what is one to do? You understand? Please follow this carefully. We said, observe. Observe what is. The basic, egotistic, self-centered activity. That which resists, which is frustrated, which becomes angry and all that. Observe that. Then we said, watch the instrument which is observing. Find out whether that instrument is very clean. You understand, sir? We have moved from the fact to the instrument that is going to look. Right? And we are examining whether that instrument is clean. And we find that instrument is not clean. Then what are we to do? You understand? There is the sharpening of intelligence. Right? Huh? I was only concerned before to observe the fact, the what is. I was watching it. And I moved away from that. Say, by Jove, I must watch the instrument that is looking. Whether the instrument is clean. In that very questioning, there is an intelligence. You're following all this? Therefore, there is a sharpening of intelligence, sharpening of the mind, the brain. Right?
Doesn't this imply that there is a level of consciousness where there is no division, no conditioning?
I don't know what it implies, sir. I don't know. I'm just moving little by little. The movement is not fragmentary movement. Right? It is not broken up. Before, when I looked, I had no intelligence. I said, I must change it, I must not change, this must not be, this is good, this is bad, this should be, all that. With those conclusions, I looked. And nothing happened. And now, I realize the instrument must be extraordinarily clean to look. So it is one constant movement of intelligence, not a fragmentary state. I want to go on with this.
Is this intelligence its own energy?
Don't bother for the moment. Leave the energy alone. You see, you're all...
It will fizzle out.
You've already got it. Whereas to us it seems refinement upon refinement upon refinement, but the drive is the same.
Yeah, the questioner says it appears that we've already got it. But you're asking us to refine more and more and more and more. Is that what's taking place? Refinement? Or the mind, the brain, the heart, the whole being has become very dull through various means and pressures and activities and so on. It has become dull. And we are saying that whole being must be awakened completely. Wait, I'm coming to it. It's not a tricky bit. You will see it. Go slowly. You will see it. Intelligence has no evolution. Right? Intelligence is not the product of time. Intelligence is this quality of sensitive awareness of what is. Now, my mind is dull. And I say, I must look at myself. And this dull mind is trying to look at itself. Obviously, it sees nothing. Right? It either resists or rejects or conforms. It's a very respectable mind. A terrible bourgeois little mind. And with that mind, it's looking. I'm talking too much, am I not?
Win for self But this is an improved way of discovering how mankind can be improved. That all other systems are futile, that we have to begin with ourselves, but is that not also an ideology?
No, sir. Is this not also an ideology? You reject all ideologies, the questioner says, but you are inventing a new ideology. Am I? Are we? For God's sake, we've been through all this, haven't we? There is, I say, on the contrary, if you look with any ideology, including mine, then you're lost. Then you're not looking at all. You have so many ideologies, respectable, not respectable, and all the rest of it. With those ideologies in your brain and your heart, you're looking. These ideologies have made the brain and the mind and your whole being dull. Now, the dull mind looks. And obviously, a dull mind, what it looks, whether it meditates or goes to the moon or puts an American flag or Russian flag or your own particular flag, is still a dull mind. So that dull mind observes. And somebody comes along and tells it, look, my friend, you're dull. What? What you see will equally be dull, because your mind is dull. Therefore, what you see will inevitably be dull also. Right? That's a great discovery. Do you understand? That's a great discovery, that a dull mind looking at something which is extraordinarily vital, because it is dull, it has made the thing that it looks at also dull.
But the same thing keeps reaching out.
We go slowly. Don't move with, if you don't mind, just move step by step with the speaker. This is becoming altogether one-sided, isn't it? We are talking and nobody else is.
The dull mind that recognizes that it is dull is not so dull.
I don't recognize it. It would be excellent if the dull mind recognized that it is dull. But it doesn't. It says, either it tries to polish it more and more and more, by becoming learned, clever, scientific, and all the rest of it, and do all the monkey business, or it is aware that it is dull. And therefore it says, this mind that is dull cannot look at something clearly. So, the next question is, how can this dull mind, this spotted mind, why become extraordinarily intelligent? So that the instrument is very clean to look, through which to look, right? Right?
Are you saying that when it puts it that way, it has put an end to the drive? One can do the right thing for the wrong reason?
No, we're not. We haven't come to the... I wish, Madame, you would leave your position, your conclusion, and find out what the speaker is saying.
No, sir, you stay with me.
Huh?
You stay with me.
You stay with me, the lady says. Not you come to me, but you come, I go to you. Right. What you are saying is this, isn't it? You're trying to reach. You are trying to get hold of something, which is, you want to make the mind, which is dull, much sharper, clearer. I don't. Wait, I don't. I am saying, watch the dullness.
How did you get there? I'm still here. How did that happen, sir? It doesn't happen to me. How does it happen?
How does it happen to watch the dull mind?
Without that continual...
Wait, without the continual movement of distortion? Where are we? My mind is dull. And that dull mind looks. And therefore there is nothing to see. Now, I ask myself, how is it possible to make the mind bright? Right? Now, in asking this question, has this question come into being because I have compared the dull mind with another clever mind? You follow? Comparing the dull mind to comparing this mind and saying that mind is extraordinarily clever, I must be like it. Therefore, that very comparison is the continuation of the dull mind. What, sir? Doesn't the dull mind always compare itself with some bright mind? That's what we call evolution, don't you?
Or you can put it a little differently, that one believes if I can be a little more clever, I will get something more.
Yeah, that's the same thing. So, I have discovered something. The dull mind says, I am dull in comparison. It says, I am dull because that man is clever. It is not aware that it is dull in itself. That's two different states, isn't it? If I am aware that I am dull because you are bright, that's one thing. If I am aware that I am dull without comparison, that's quite a different thing. Now, exactly what is the state with you? Are you comparing it and therefore saying, by Jove, I am dull? Or are you aware that you are dull without comparison? And can that be? Do please stay with that little bit. Do please give 2 minutes to this question. Am I aware that I am hungry because you tell me, or you are hungry, or I am hungry? If you tell me I am hungry, I may feel little hunger, but it's not real hunger. But if I am hungry, I am hungry. So I must be very clear whether my dullness is the result of comparison, or is my dullness, it is like that. Then I can proceed from there. I find by comparing myself with you, with Christ, with Marx or Field Marshal somebody, I have made myself extraordinarily insignificant, dull.
Now, what brought that home to you in such a way that you can leave it and only be concerned with whether I am dull or not? What has caused
Because
you to
I see the truth that comparison makes the mind dull.
already see something in some
No, here it is very simple. I see that comparison makes the mind dull. You know, at school, when one boy is compared with another boy, you destroy the boy by comparing him with another. That is so, isn't it? If you tell the younger brother that he must be as clever as the elder brother, you have destroyed the younger brother, haven't you? You're not concerned with the younger brother, you're concerned with the cleverness of the older brother.
Had a dull mind, know and find if it is dull.
We're going to find out, madam, go with me. Please, let's begin again. Could we not stick to this one thing this morning?
Sir, just so long as there is that drive, what validity have any, whether I'm dull in myself or
We're going to find out. Please, just go along with the speaker for a few minutes. Not accepting or rejecting, but watching yourself. We said at the beginning of this morning's dialogue that the revolution must take place at the very root of our being. And this revolution can take place only when we know how to observe what we are. The observation depends on the brightness, clarity, and the openness of a mind that looks. But most of us are dull. And we say we see nothing when we look. We see anger, jealousy, and so on, but it doesn't result in anything. So we are concerned with the dull mind, not what it is looking at. This dull mind says, I must be clever in order to look. So, it has a pattern of what cleverness is and is trying to become that. And somebody says to it, comparison will always produce dullness. So it says, by Jove, I must be terribly careful of that. I won't compare. Then how do I know I am dull? I knew only what dullness was through comparison. If I don't compare, how do I know I'm dull? You're following this? How do I know I'm dull? So I said to myself, I won't call it dull.
you've gone into the beyond.
No, it's very simple. I won't use the word dull at all. I will only observe what is and don't call it dull. Are you? Huh? Because the moment I call it dull, I've already given it a name and made it dull. But if I don't call it dull, but only observe, I have removed comparison, I have removed the word dull, and only what is. I don't know what is. This is not difficult, is it? Is it difficult? Are you tired or am I tired?
Please, there are some of us that are following.
Can't somebody put something in this tent to make it cool? Wait a minute, madam. I'm sorry, I must go on with this. Please, do watch it for yourself. Look what has happened now. Look where my mind is now.
Sir, I see my mind is slow. I am compared. I see my mind is too slow. Am I comparing that?
Yes, sir, we are doing that. Excuse me. Please listen to me, sir. Thank God there is another train coming.
But if it's too fast,
No, please. You see, you interrupt so much. You're not following. Otherwise, we could go on and on and on. I must go. Sorry. Will you please don't interrupt? Huh? Just listen. I'll go very, very, very slowly, step by step, millimeter by millimeter. How do I realize my mind is dull? Because you have told me? Because I've read books that seem so bright and so extraordinarily clever, intricate and subtle? Or I have seen brilliant people and therefore in comparing myself with them I have become dull? I call myself dull? So I have to find out. So I won't compare. I refuse to compare. Doesn't matter what will happen, but I refuse to compare myself with somebody else. Then, how do I know I'm dull? Is the word preventing me to observe, or is the word taking place of what actually is? Are you following this? So now I say, now I'll have no word. I won't call it dull. I won't call it slow. I won't call it anything, but find out what is. So I've got rid of comparison, which is the most extraordinarily subtle thing, outwardly or inwardly. I won't compare. I won't call it I won't give it a name. So my mind now has become obviously extraordinarily intelligent. Because it doesn't compare, it doesn't use a word to see what is. Because it has realized the description is not the described. So what is it? So what is actually is the fact? What is? I don't know. It's not dull. It is not made dull by comparison. And I'm watching it. Right? Can we go on from there? I'm watching it. Mind is watching its own movement. Now, do I condemn it? Do I condemn what I see? Judge, evaluate, and say this should be, this should not be? You follow? Has it any formula, any ideal, any resolution, any conclusion which will inevitably discard what is? So I have to go into that. Have I any conclusion? If I have, I cannot look. I'm a moralist, I'm a respectable person, I am, good, I'm a Christian, I'm a Vedantist or enlightened one or this or that. So all that prevents me from looking. Therefore I must get rid, I must be free of all that. Therefore I have to look. If I have any conclusion of any kind, I have to look. And I'm watching. And I say to you, oh, I believe in Z. That's a conclusion. I said, look what I've done. I've discovered. So I'm discovering. And therefore the mind is becoming sharper and sharper. And not sharper, the mind has become extraordinarily sharp. And so, from there it says, is there fear? I watch it and I say there is fear. There is the desire for security. There is the urge for pleasure and so on and so on. So I see that I cannot possibly look if there are any kind of conclusion, any kind of pleasurable movement taking place. So I'm watching myself to find out whether it is dull because of comparison or dull, made dull by using the word dull, and am I looking at myself with a conclusion, noble or recent, modern, ancient, traditional, all that stuff. So I'm watching and I find I'm very traditional. And I realize such a traditional mind can't look. And my deep interest is to look. And therefore my deep interest pushes that away. My deep interest shows me the danger of any conclusion. Therefore, the very perception of danger is the discarding of that danger. So my mind then now, this mind then now, is not confused, has no conclusion, doesn't think in terms of words, descriptions, and is not comparing. And such a mind can observe. And what it observes is itself. And therefore, a revolution has taken place. Now you're lost. Completely lost.
think so that the revolution has taken place. Today I managed to look at the mind as the way you say, and the mind becomes sharper. But tomorrow I've forgotten how to look.
Then you can't forget it. So do you forget a snake? Do you forget a precipice? Do you forget in your cupboard the bottle marked poison? You can't forget it. We said, the gentleman asked, how can I cleanse the instrument? We said, the cleansing of the instrument is to be aware. Is to be aware how the instrument is made dull, clouded, unclear. We have described the instrument, what makes it clouded. And we also said the description is not the actual thing described. So don't be caught in words. Be with the thing described, which is the instrument which is made dull. I've finished.
If you look at yourself, as you described, you expect something.
I don't. I'm not expecting anything.
That's paralyzing the mind.
I'm not expecting a transformation, enlightenment, a mutation. I'm expecting nothing because I don't know what's going to happen. I know only one thing very clearly, that the instrument that is looking is not clean, is clouded, is cracked. That's all I know, and nothing else. And my concern is, how can this instrument be made whole, healthy? That's all. Why am I looking? The world is burning. The world is burning. And the world is me. I am terribly disturbed. Terribly confused. And there must be some order somewhere in all this. And that's what makes me look. But if I say, well, the world is all right, old boy, why do you bother about it? You are perfect. You've got nice health and little money and wife and children and a house. Well, leave it alone. Then, of course, the world isn't burning, but it's all the same burning, whether you like it or not. So that is what is making me look, not some idiotic intellectual conception or emotional excitement, but the actual fact, the world is burning. Wars, the hatreds, the deceptions, the images, the false gods and all the rest of it, including communist gods. And I want that very perception of what is taking place outwardly is making me aware inwardly. And I say the inward state is the outward state. They are both one, indivisible. And that's what you make me look.
We are again back at the best reckoning, because it is a fact that you see the mind is dark, a dull mind. This dull mind doesn't see, not even.
Madam, we've been through all that. We have been through all that.
This was something new, that the contact, it doesn't see that by
Comparison.
comparison, he will get a bit, he will be a different.
I don't want to be different.
All right.
No, madam, not all right, it's all wrong.
Yes, but
It's all wrong. I don't want to be different.
yes, but it remains dark.
No, madam, I don't want to be different. I only want to, I won't use the word want. I only see that the instrument is dull. I don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to find out. Which doesn't mean I want to change the instrument. I don't.
But does a dull mind see that the instrument is, let me see, not feeling? That's the question. Does a dull mind see?
Madam, we have been through this just now. A dull mind cannot see. And therefore, is it made dull by comparison, or is it dull because it uses the word dull? We've been through all that. Please, Rosalie.
If I look at this dullness only as a fact, without talking qualities, then the space between me and this dullness will disappear. And dullness disappears too.
Madam.
Especially word, is it not always an obstacle to see?
What?
If you use any word, is it not an obstacle to see clearly?
To use any word, is it an obstacle to see? The word is not the thing. Therefore, if you are looking at the thing, the word, unless you put it aside, the word becomes extraordinarily important.
I think that I disagree with you.
Enfin.
When you are looking quantity, your instrument has fundamentally two parts. The first part is perception, and the second part is expression. And it is absolutely impossible to be real to separate these two parts. And the word feel is convenient for the perception. It must be also applied to expression. And here we have a very difficult problem, that is a problem of finding the language with which we shall express what we have perceived. And this is the totality, perception first, and second, express what we have perceived, or describe what we have perceived, that cannot be separated. The big difficulty, I agree, is first in the dullness of what you want of the perception, but it is also, and I think mainly in the inadequacy of the language and the quite randomness of the expression. Consequently, there is a sort of linguistic question.
Yes, sir. Are you saying, sir, in observation, there is perception and expression? The two are not separate. Therefore, when you perceive, there must not only be the clarity of expression, the linguistic understanding, and therefore the perception and the expression must never be separate, divided. They must go always together. Therefore you are saying, are you not, sir, that it is very important to use the right word.
Yes, and when I say expression, I am not saying intention.
No, I understand, say expression. Therefore, out of that comes another factor, perception, expression, and action. If action is not expression and perception, expression being expressing it in words, then there is a fragmentation. So, is not perception action? The very perceiving is the acting. Like, I perceive the precipice and there is immediate action. And that action is the expression of that perception. So, are you interested in all this? Yeah, I'm glad. So perception and action can never be separate. Therefore, the ideal and action are impossible. If I see the stupidity of ideal, see it. The very perception of seeing the stupidity is the action of intelligence. Bene? So, the watching of dullness, the perceiving of dullness is the clearing of the mind of dullness, which is action. Basta.